All right. So I'm going to go through some things super duper quick, and then let you keep. You can keep working on that as well too if you want to. But um, so hopefully we've completed the first day survey that's in Canvas, right? I really need that information. That's I'm going to use that for stuff for tomorrow. All right. Um, and then fourth period only. All right. We need to make sure we complete the secondary code of conduct, and I need to check off that that's done. So when you finish that, keep that screen up there that says that you finished the survey at the end, and then I'll check you off that that is complete. All right. If you don't do that, they're going to come hunt you down and pull you out, and so they'll make sure that they get you on that. So make sure that you do that. Also, at some point, we'll need to use the join codes for formative.com. We use that for our testing. Microsoft Teams, because I'm going to record at least one class every single day. So if you're not here, you can just watch the class at home if you felt like it. All right. This is the class that's being recorded right now. So if you went after you're at the end, I'll publish it. And then on Microsoft Teams, you'd be able to watch the whole recording again. Okay. So you'll want to make sure that you've joined for Microsoft Teams as well. And then Khan Academy is optional. It's available if you want it, but it has good resources, but we don't use anything with it. My AP is not available yet, but you need that. That's how you sign up to take the AP test. Albert.io will be available later. I'm not going to require anything out of Albert.io. It's just optional if you want to get some practice questions. Okay. So, but the ones that we will need will be formative and Microsoft Teams. All right. So we're okay there. We're good. All right. Keep scrolling through here. Emergency drills. We want to go over that, right? Active assailant drill. We'd be back in that corner over there. We'd close that up. Lock door. Bring your laptops. That always makes us a good any kind of defensive. Be able to throw at anybody if the door ever did get breached. But we'll talk more in detail about how to prepare, what different routes there are, how to think about things, what to listen for during those drills. All right. So we'll go over that during our first drill. All right. But you guys have done those before. Bad weather drill, we would just move away from the windows, right, over there. And then escaping, evacuating. We'll go out now. Make sure we do this because we go out a little bit funny. We go out those middle doors, but then turn left and go out to past the bus loop and onto the football track or onto the football field where the track is. We try to get as close to the track as possible. All right. I will need somebody to take that sign. When I'm here, I'll give it to you. Right. I'll hand that to you because I'll be the last one out. And then we have to find out where to go, right? So somebody has to hold that up so we can find you, all right? I know it's not a job nobody wants, but as soon as I get out there, I'll take it from you. But like I say, I'm the last one out of the room, so I'll need to find out where you are too. So get as close to the track as you can. When I'm here, I'll hand it to somebody, not a big deal. But if I was ever absent, that happened, you'd have to take care of that for me, okay? Let's see, class structure, right? So how the class is structured. I wish I could do it with no homework, but I can't. There's no way for me to do that. I have to give some homework, right? But not very much, right? So, but homework will be to prepare some notes for the next day's class. So, and let me apologize in advance. I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I think I'm a nicer person than this is going to come across. It starts tonight. Okay. So you have homework tonight. You'll have to prepare notes for tomorrow. Tomorrow's module 3. Right? I'm going to talk about modules 1 and 2. You're going to do module 3 for homework tonight and turn it in tomorrow. All right. Now, already what you're thinking about notes, my response to you is less than what you're thinking. Now, whatever you're thinking about, less than that. I am not trying to give you a lot of work. I promise you. Okay. I just need, most of the time, like half a page with maybe some graphs here and there. All right. Then you will take your handwritten notes. Right. And you will turn them into this blue thing when we come to class tomorrow. Whatever your last name is, if your last name is N, right? Because N, you'll open up the N and slide it in there. That way they're pretty alphabetized for me. I can get them graded and turned back to you during that class period. Okay. So you'll walk in, stick them in there. That's the first thing that we're going to do. All right. Does that make sense? We're okay. All right. I'll go a little bit more of that later. I'll show you where you get the resources and all that stuff. It's really not that much. It shouldn't. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. All right. So after you turn in your homework, if you turn in late, right, I'll still take it. Just a small point deduction, not much, usually like 20%, right? So instead of 100, you get an 80 on that one assignment, all right? And I'll take it all, and you turn it in just with the next day's bell work or the next day's homework. You just turn them in together. Just make sure you label them so I can see them, right? And then I'll take them all the way up until the time we take the test. Once we take the test, then I'm not taking the homeworks after that. But it's not like you're going to get zeros. I will take your test grade and put that in for the homework. All right. So if you get a 70 on the test, then 70s would go in for your homework. Right. The homework is meant to help your grade too, right? Because you should get hundreds on them. Right. And I make it 40% of the overall grade. The homework's just doing the homework. So mathematically, right, if you do all of the homeworks and miss every single test question, you'll get a D. So you can literally miss every single test question and pass the class. Right now, obviously, we're going to do better than that. You're not going to miss every single question, right? But that's just I'm making it weighted it very heavily to help people with their grades, right? So does that make sense? We're good. And then if you choose not to do it, I don't want to penalize you either, right? So that's why I take your test grade and I'll fill it in for your missing homeworks. All right, cool. Makes sense. All right. So once you come in and turn that in, bell work will be up here. Bell work might be the most important part of the class. It really might be. All right. It's questions that I have come up with and or found that I'm like, they have to know this for the test. Right. So bell work, probably the most important thing. Now, there's also a reason that you're sitting the way you're sitting. Right. You're when you come in, if you don't know how to do it, ask someone. Work on them together. That's fine. Right. You don't like to talk to people and you still don't know what to do, then cheat. Look over, pretend, look over and write something down. All right. I encourage cheating all the way up until the time we take the test. You can cheat on everything except that. All right. So look, help each other out. That's why you're sitting this way. If I didn't want you to help each other out and work together, I'd have put you in rows. Okay. So bell work, though, like I say, I think it's the most important thing. I really do. We'll go over it. I'll explain now. When you did the homework, maybe you didn't understand it. Right? It's a new concept. You don't know anything about PPC curves, but well, you do. But most of you don't know anything about PPC curves, so you're going to take notes on that tonight. Right? If you don't understand it, fine. That's what I will clear up tomorrow in class. Okay. We'll give you some practice problems tomorrow. We'll give you quizzes for practice. Right? They don't count. Right? They're just practice. You need to practice questions. Right? Absences, I already told you, all classes will be recorded and they'll be on Microsoft Teams. So you can always, don't ask me what we did, just watch the class, right? You have access to it, Microsoft Teams. What do we do today? I'm going to say it's on Teams, right? The lesson's on Canvas, but you can watch the class, okay? So cool beans, we're okay there. All right. Things that you might want to know about the course. Here's the only 4 things I could think that you want to know. 1, how much work is there? 2, what's your grade going to be? 3, are you going to pass the AP test? And 4, is it fun? Right. Well, how much work is there? It's going to be about 5, maybe 15 minutes per night. There's one night that I give you like a 20-minute video because it's a tougher concept I got to talk about. All right. But other than that, it should never be more than 10 minutes. Right. That's really, we're going 10 minutes or less. All right. So grades, mostly A's and B's. Right. Will have kids that really struggle. They just can't grasp it. It's just not their cup of tea. Right. And I've had students that drop. Okay. So that does happen. Right. But you should be okay. All right. Pass rates. Are you going to pass the AP test? Some of you care about that. Some of you don't. Doesn't matter to me. But 76% of the macro students passed, 67% of the micro students passed. Okay. So statistically, micro is a little bit harder than macro. Okay. Okay. And then is it fun? Well, it is for me. I enjoy it. I don't know if you will, but most students are like they enjoy it, but some really, really don't. Right? It's just not their thing. Okay. So we're all right. Now makes sense. Any questions for me on those? All right. Sometimes I show what other students have thought about the class, but we'll do that. Okay. So some things that I need to go over so that you understand your homework. I got to go over modules 1 and 2 essentially. Right. And then you're doing module 3 tonight. And let me go ahead and jump to that. Let me show you that. So what's that going to look like? So here's the Canvas, right? And so hopefully you've already done the AP first day survey, right? Hopefully that's completed. Those are the join codes, right, for the things. So hopefully you get joined up in those that you need to. Now, when you have to do the notes on module 3, right, you could use the textbook. I'll give you a link to that. Nobody does the textbook, right? And just be honest, okay? So that's fine. I don't encourage you to do the textbook. I think it's the worst option, right? But if you wanted to go through the textbook, you could, right? Some people, but very, very few, will look at the PowerPoint notes. Here's a link to all the notes for the entire course, right? get an error message like that, click the top up here, and you're doing module 3. So you could open that up, right? And you could take your notes from those PowerPoint notes if you wanted to, right? Almost nobody does that, okay? So what people do is they will go to the assignment, module 3. See, it says August 10th, okay? So August 10th is today, which means hopefully by midnight you would have it done. I make it due tonight at midnight. You're turning it in tomorrow though, right? But it says August 10th, so you'll pop that open. And when you do, a bunch of blah, blah, blah that we don't care about. There's a link to the textbook, right? So textbook link, you could open that up and download it, and you have the textbook. Nobody uses that. Here are the notes. Sometimes these links work. Sometimes you have to go the other one in the main thing that I showed you before. But what most people do is they'll just watch those 2 videos. Okay. So there's a different number of videos. All right. This one has 2 that need to be watched. All right. The basics of the PPP and the shifting of the PPC. Right. And then here's some others if you want, but you don't need to. Right. If you took notes on those 2 things, you'd be fine. Right. The amount of notes that you're thinking about, less than that. Okay. But we do want to include the graphs. All right. You don't have to put numbers on the side, but the shape, like if you look around, look, that's all that is. All those posters are graphs. You got to know how to do those. All right. And they're all different. So the graphs are really, really important. You got to be able to draw those. Right. That's your FRQ. Right. Okay. So you got to be able to do that. So graphs are very important. Put those in there. Okay. We're good. We're all right. All right. So, all right. Let's go back to here. All right. Some other things that. So what is economics? All right. Economics is the study of how individuals and nations choose to use scarce resources. So it's the idea that there's only so much stuff in our world. Because there's a limited amount of stuff, choose what you're going to do with it. Right? There's only so much wood in the world. So nations got to figure out how to use that. Individual businesses need to figure out how they're going to use that. Who gets it? How much do they get? How much are they going to use? There's only so many people in our country. Right? 320 million people or whatever it is, 330 million people. There's only that many people. So how are we going to use them? How many doctors are we going to have? How many teachers? How many computer programmers? Right? We got to figure that out somehow. That's economics. How do you choose to use your resources? You have 24 hours in a day. That's a resource. You can use it however you want. Right? So you can use it however you want, but you got to make that choice because there's only 24 hours. You have a limited resource. Right? Once economists realize that we're studying how people choose to use resources, the choices they make, it really became a lot of a psychological thing too. There's a thing called behavioral economics where it's a lot of psychology, and there's a lot of experiments with monkeys and people, and they just do really cool things. So if you ever get a chance, we don't get to do too much of that. We do a little bit some behavioral economics, but not as much as the fun stuff. So 3 words that I absolutely have to go over that you have to know, right? That's where they're highlighted, okay? You have to know these for tonight's homework and for some of it for the test and all kinds of stuff. So the definition, you don't need to know that. That's never going to be on the test. You don't have to know it, all right? But the word scarcity will be. Scarcity is almost always on the test. It's the most fundamental part of economics. It's why we have it. Scarcity means unlimited wants. People want all kinds of stuff, but they have limited resources. Right? That's the limited resources things that we've been talking about. Scarcity is limited resources. There's only so much stuff. Okay. So that's scarcity. That's why we have economics. That's why we have to make choices. Right. What you give up is called opportunity cost. Now, this one's really big. This one's going to come up multiple times. All right. So let's start here, man. How much are those shoes new? What'd they cost? No, he's wrong. First question the entire school year, and he got it wrong. That's terrible. -10 for your entire table. You lost all those points. He talked about how much he paid for it, right? That's the price, right? We talk about cost, it's going to be something different. And one type of cost we're going to talk about is his opportunity cost. He gave up $170 to get those shoes. We don't care about the $170. What we care about is he gave up the opportunity to get something else, right? He spent $170. What would he have gotten instead? If he didn't spend the $170 on those shoes, what would he have gotten? Right? Maybe he gotten food, taken his girlfriend out to dinner, or bought clothes, or bought a video game. I don't know. right? But whatever he did not get, because you can't get something, you can't spend the 170 on the shoes and get something else. It's impossible. Whatever he sacrificed is what the opportunity cost is. Okay? My favorite example of that, and why you should think about opportunity cost. So my wife and I, we have a camper. We pull behind my truck. We go camping a lot, right? And we also shop for new campers, right? And I'm pretty good with our money, and we have like little buckets of money, right? Like I have little accounts set up. And so this one's for vacation and travel, and this one's for transportation, and this one's for retirement, and this one's for short term, and all kinds of different things, right? So we have money saved up, and Kim wants to get a new camper. She's all excited about getting a new camper. I'm like, great. So it's in our little travel budget thing. So we go and we find one. She's like, this is it. I like it. If we trade in our old camper, we pay $13,000. We have $13,000. We've saved up just for this. The money isn't going to go for anything else. It's in our travel expense. So $13,000. She's like, I want to get the camper. I'm like, that's fine. We can do that. I go, but let's make sure we think about the opportunity cost. And she rolls her eyes. She's like, you and your voodoo economics stuff. I'm like, no, seriously, let's think about this. I go, what's the opportunity cost of spending $13,000 on the camper? If we buy the camper for $13,000, what are we giving up? What's the next best alternative? I was like, you've always talked about going to Hawaii. Right? We can't do both. So what do you think we did? We went to Hawaii, right? When she thought about the money, she was perfectly willing to spend the $13,000 on the camper, right? And not even give it a second thought. But when she thought about the opportunity cost, she's like, oh no, I'd much rather, she almost made a bad choice, a choice that was inferior, right? Then when she thought about opportunity cost, we went to Hawaii, right? We still spent the $13,000, right? But we did something else. So when you think in terms of opportunity cost, you're a much better decision maker, right? You can do all kinds of things, right? Should you date this boy or girl? Right. Well, I mean, theoretically, you should be giving up dating somebody else. Maybe not all of you do, but you know what I mean? So if you choose this person, you're not dating that person. Right. Or if you're spending time with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're spending less time with your friends and your family. Right. And make sure you think about it, because maybe it is the right decision. Maybe it isn't. All right. So opportunity cost is the value of what you give up when you make a choice. Right. If a nation decides it wants to make more tennis shoes, it's going to have to give up making computer chips, right? So you have to make those choices, all right? So that's kind of what we talk about. What does it cost? Skip, all the way down here to markets. Usually are a good way to organize economic activity. So we need to talk about the factors of production. Factors of production are also on the test in an indirect way, but you have to know them. You have to know them for the PPC curves homework that you're going to do tonight and turn in tomorrow, right? So for Module 3 homework, you should understand factors of production. Anytime we produce something, any production of anything, there are 4 factors that need to be considered. All right. So they're land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Right. Land is also called natural resources. You know what natural resources are, right? Give me some example of natural resources. Water, oil, wind, right? The land itself, rubber, right? Anything like that. Okay. Now I've seen tricky questions where they'll show you like a body of water and they'll say, what factor of production is it? And the multiple choice answer was land. Like that's not land, that's water, right? But of the factors of production, it's land. Natural resources are land. Okay. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. The Windermere football team, right? They put on an entertainment service. They have natural resources. They got to cut the grass. They need water to water the players. Right? There's all kinds of stuff that goes into that. Okay. And if the natural resource suffers, then the product suffers. The entertainment suffers. All right. Natural resource, human resources, right? Labor is the other term for that. Right. So we only have so many human resources in our country. Right. So we can only make so much stuff. If the human resources are bad, the product is bad. Right. Football team. Right. The better human resources, the better the product, the better the entertainment. Right. Capital resources are man-made things used in the production, tools, factories. Hammer is a capital resource. Man-made things, right? So in the football thing, the helmets, right? That's a capital resource, right? That makes sense. So the goalposts, the footballs, the jerseys, they're all capital resources. When I was at West Orange, we spent all kinds of money on jerseys, capital resources. Why? So we look good. The entertainment factor of it. We want to, and that builds that's we're providing more entertainment just by looking good. It'll make us play better, right? But we're in the entertainment industry, right? So, and then the last one is entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur organizes the other factors of production, the ownership. All right. So in that instance, it would be the coaches. Right. So whatever we're producing, those are the four things to consider. Right. We talked about his shoes. There's going to be land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship that goes into that. And the better they are, the better the product. Right. So that's why we're going to start manipulating, playing with those. All right. Does that make sense? We okay? All right. Peachy. So one more time for homework tonight. Right. Number one, make sure that survey's done. Number two, get the join codes. All right. 3, we are doing module 3, whether you use the textbook, PowerPoint notes, or the videos, doesn't matter to me. Don't do a ton of notes. I would rather tell you, hey, you got to put a little bit more in there than have you come in with 2 pages or something like that. That's ridiculous. All right. The other thing that we have to get done is this. That on Canvas, the code of conduct one. All right. So they'll holler at me even today. I'll get fussed at today if that's not done. So I'll check on the attendance sheet. When you're done, raise your hand. I'll come around and mark that you've completed that code of conduct thing. Notes, that's it, 100%. That's all you're doing. So module 3 notes, right? And less than what you're thinking right now. Oh, gosh, no, see, less than you're thinking, right? I'm thinking more half-page kind of stuff, right? Maybe if you draw the graph big, it might be a page, like if you make a big picture of the graph. But yeah, so yeah, I don't want, no, please do less. Less is more. So what you got, boss? Yep, hold on one sec. Let me check all, and I'm going to need, so. This is the 4th period. What's the last name? Scully. Thank you. Yeah, you got it, boss. What's the last name? So what did you finish? You got, okay, Montenegro. Thank you. What is it? S-A, what is it? What last name? S-H-O-V-A. S-H. Oh, gotcha. What is it? Mendez. Thank you. What you got? What's the last name? Ray. Yeah. P. There you go. Thank you. Carson. Thank you. You can do it on phone or do it on somebody else's if you want. If you want to, I mean, you can do it. You'll just get it done for me. You got what's last? Yeah, what's last name? Yeah, you can probably do it on hers if you wanted to, if we have time. Knock it out. What's the last name? Thank you. What's the last name? Thank you. Wait, what's the last? Oh, Song. Thank you, Abigail. Last name? Thanks. I got you, boss. Thanks. What's the last name? Wait, hold on. What's the last name? I'm A. Max. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay, yes.
So how can turn in by assessment to the module 4?
Well, so we're doing module 3 tonight, and you're going to take some notes on module 3. So go back to module 3. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So watch videos to watch. Watch those 2 videos, okay, and just take some notes on them. If not the videos, then you could do the PowerPoint notes or the textbook. Nope. So don't nothing about that. You're just going to take some written notes and you're going to turn it in there tomorrow. Nothing else on Canvas other than that. What's the last name? Thank you. If on the videos you have a problem, like you click it and it doesn't show up, sometimes you have to click AT&T. Yeah. Oh, you guys know about that? AT&T Web Access is Do what on Teams? Interesting. I don't know why that is. All right. Let's see. What's the last name? Thank you. Thank you. What is it? What's the last name? Thank you. Yes. Oh, I thought you had something else. Savetko. Yep. All right. Let me see why the Microsoft Teams thing isn't working. What's the code that you were trying? Who was trying the Microsoft Teams that couldn't get in? Did you get into Microsoft Teams? You did? All right, so let's. Thank you, man. What's the last name? Is this the right one? Building. Oh. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Yes.
Is there any way you can add me to the class?
To which class? On Canvas? No. When did you join today? Was that they just put you in? It'll be tomorrow.
Oh. Okay.
Almost always it's the next day. Very rarely does it go any further than that. But yeah, you should be in there. So don't worry about it. You can just do the notes later. All right, it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Why can't I find all teams? Yeah, what's the last name? B-A-L? B-A-L. Oh, gotcha. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Are you sure you're using the right code? Oh, you do? Okay, good, because I couldn't find the code again. I don't know what it was. All right. What you got, kiddo?
I just did the code of context, so I just want to like.
Okay, thanks. What's the last name?
Ray, R-E-A.
Thank you very much.
I also did. I'll show you in a second.
Carrie?
Carrie's here.
Right, gotcha. Perfect. Thanks. You don't have to show me. I just...
What if we have like a notebook for that class or this class? Do we have to just do it on paper?
Something, yeah, because you can't like you can't put a 3-ring binder. Yeah, so it's like the worst thing about my class. Yeah, so. All right, we got about 1 more minute. Does anybody have any other questions about the class? Anything that you need to know, want to know? The review? Oh, yeah, so go to home. And then complete micro review packet. Yeah, I recommend printing that and the back half with just the answers. Some people will print both and they'll try to practice questions. So it's really up to you. But the back half is a great study source. Unbelievable. It really is. Okay. All right, guys. See you tomorrow. Then you won't pass the class. So thank you. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, no, it's fine, man. Well, again, every class will be recorded if you can watch it. If not, we'll get you caught up when you come back. But yeah, so like I say, everything, the dates of the assignments, the class will be recorded. Anything I can do to help, let me know. So all right, yeah, man. See you guys. Take care, guys.